second of tonight's Moviedrome double bill is one of the best moral thrillers ever made. It's a classic cult picture and you may already have seen it, but it hasn't been on TV since 1990, since Britain got its twice-a-week national lottery. Force of Evil is about a lottery, a numbers racket, but its bracing pessimism is miles away from Anthea Turner and the gaudy charade on our TV screens. The film was made by Enterprise Productions, a short-lived, late-40s independent company set up to make socially aware but popular films out with the glossy Hollywood norm. Force of Evil was its last release. It flopped as the company went under. Its producer Bob Roberts was blacklisted by the House Un-American Activities Committee, set up the year before in 1947. More famously, the film's New York Jewish novelist director, Abraham Polonsky, was also forced out of the film industry and didn't direct another American picture for 22 years. Its lead actor, John Garfield, was a rebel within the film community and died of a heart attack 4 years later in the flat of an ex-showgirl. He had been blacklisted by the committee, and his friends said the years of harassment by government agencies and so-called patriotic groups damaged his health. For a while the film was forgotten, but occasional revivals on TV in the 50s and since began to establish its hypnotic effect. I can't think of another so-called film noir which makes me cry. Many of the great American films such as Citizen Kane or The Searchers or Apocalypse Now or The Godfather make your spine tingle because their lead characters are almost fascists and they play with the fascist idea of exercising complete power over other people. Force of Evil, which is like the Godfather trilogy boiled down, doesn't play this game. Everyone in it is tainted by the smell of money, and everyone suffers because of it.
And I've done it for 2 reasons.
What's the second reason?
Frankly, the first is money. But the second reason is my brother. He's 50 years old, a man with heart trouble. And when 776 hits tomorrow and wipes out his capital, it'll wipe out his life. He'll turn white and die.
Polonsky to this day thinks of the film as an avant-garde picture influenced by the French director Jean Vigo, and this must have pissed Hollywood off. He told his cinematographer George Barnes, who worked with Hitchcock and Billy Wilder, Cecil B. DeMille, Frank Capra and Ernst Lubitsch, that he wanted the film to look like the New York paintings of Edward Hopper. He based his script on Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist and war correspondent Ira Wolfert's novel, Tucker's People. The result is one of the most poetic screenplays produced in the studio period in America. Look at the scene about 13 minutes in when Leo, played by Thomas Gomez, says no to Garfield's plan.
Leo, this is your chance, the one I got for you.
You take your chance, Joe, and get out of here. I'm an honest man here, not a gangster with that gangster Tucker.
It's like the words of a desperate song whose music we don't know. Haven't forgotten, he says, then repeats himself and moves on and repeats that too.
I'll give you my answer calmly and sensibly, my final answer. My final answer is finally no. The answer is no. Absolutely and finally no. Finally and positively no. No, 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 and no!
You'll have gathered by now that I love this picture. I've done so since I was a kid when I didn't understand its political power, but adored its mood. I remember in particular from then the scene where Garfield, having been in the shadowy rooms for ages, walks out onto what I now know as Wall Street. It's dawn and deserted. The buildings are like cathedrals and he's the incredible shrinking man. When I first went to New York, I went there. I was sure that this was a whole sequence in the film, but I look now and it's only a shot or two. My more critical eye now tells me that Polonsky shouldn't have included the few shots at the racing track, which are like from another film, and take away from this Wall Street moment. But here it is, Force of Evil. I want to make a movie like this one.